for the one-day freedom of expression won't be just a performance. It was, this speech was during the performance directed by Tanya Bulgara at the Havana Biennale. This work is a continuation of a thesis out from a queer perspective, whose director was Professor Ameriques Rossi and the co-director was the Professor Claudia de Lima Costa. Introduction. In this work, I studied art for the queerness because it would be a contradiction to say that there is an art queer. Obviously, one of the privileged forms of artworks from the queer is the performance. This paper aims to discuss the notion of performance in the process of establishment, taking into account the visual documentation, for it does not refer to visual aesthetics, but projections, documentary questions, like the constitution of subjectivity, proposing various cultural, artistic, political actions. The idea of visual documentation device emerged as a way of producing knowledge from artistic practice that hardly they find a space for insertion and interaction in the post-conquest Americas. This artistic practice from the queer in South Caribbean and Central America or North America, like Mexico, was a femicide contest. They looked for an artistic autonomy. By the way, in this device I called CDE, Electronic Documentation Center, that launched in March of 2013 and has the financial support of the foundation for the support of research of Ameriques. Architecturally, the CDA is linked to the Pinacoteca Valley, an artistic museum space coordinated for me in the University of the Valley. With the electronic system, we look for some kind of reinterpretation so that might provide electronic objects that occur as a learning, as well as a way of interacting to produce knowledge. They will also be linked to different sites, blogs, and other electronic experience. I'm going to discuss that. I propose the documentation as a transdisciplinary performative act, rather than seeking the translation of artistic events, using technology as a visual device traversal of electronic art and anthropological knowledge. I'm from two premises. In the first, I suggest that the notion of performance in art places in tension the social, the social context. In this case, I'm not referring to performance of Butler as Carmelita Tropicana or Vaginal Davis. In fact, more than art, they produce entertainment. This means that I do not use the concept of performance as has been used in various fields of social and human science. I don't use performance as a cultural moment that has the function of balancing the social. In the second premise, I suggest that dichotomous systems are sex-gender, produce categories such as male-female, heterosexual, homosexual, active, passive, public, private. From this second premise, I can infer that the meaning of these categories, performative statement, or declaraciones locucionarias, has the power to trigger individual subjects to condition their subjectivity by imagining visualities through image of gender and sexual diversity dominant. The science finds in categories such as shaman or page a scientific and political instrument to eliminate possibilities of identities beyond dichotomous systems like male-female, human-animal, and human cosmos. It constitutes, as a classic example, the narrative of Saladan Bagluk. So today we live in an epistemological violence, sexual, and Western science as a product of systematic nesting Western perspectives and wishing heteronormative fields placed at a higher level to the transgender and not heteronormative controlling at present the production of knowledge. Warning, attention, I'm not talking about hierarchies of oppression. I'm referring to the political and the geographic hierarchies between academics, between language, between artistic language, and between the neoliberal label system in the Americas. Next, I address the notion of performance as an artistic language and the notion of performance as documentary device for modifying the production of artistic knowledge in a transdisciplinary field. For the notion of performance as an artistic language, I rely on Manuel Mendive artistic proposal. For performance as a gesture documentary artist, I studied the device Blanco Ferreira, the Transvestite Museum of Peru, and blogs as Hortus Marimachos Putus studies. The discussion. One of the artistic works I decided to study for the transoceanic to address the performance in its dimension of language belongs to Manuel Mendive. This Cuban artist takes actions for different languages are articulate as painting, music, and body. His work, When You Close Your Eyes, talks with Cuban Santeria. At its known, the abolition of slavery in Cuba was in 1886. Here, in the Americas, contemporary art works in one of their dimensions with diaspora studies. Santeria has been persecuted since before the Cuban independence. Today, it's part of Cuban folklore. Someone could ask how it was possible that the work of Mendive can reach us. In our recent history, performance of this marginalized art practice, but also homogeneize the particularities of artistic practice, especially when they are addressed by the performance studies. It's not the same thought about the performance of Yves Klein, Marina Abramovic, and Joseph Beuys than the performance of Guillermo Gómez Peña and Achille Haddad. The performance studies and the queer studies as well from the United States, Spain, and France ignore the paradigm of abolition. In this sense, I can problematize the notion of performance as a category that is looking for the manifestation of artistic practice that question identity, ignoring the post-abolitionist and post-conquest conflict. Epistemologically speaking, the logic of West Side art dissolves the post-abolitionist conflict in Caribbean and other countries of the Americas, such as Brazil. I will rescue the Brazilian artist proposal, Blanco Ferreira, who works with queer and extensive performance to interact. In my proposed work, Ferreira builds a performance that relies on a device. With the use of technology, launch a question in the space of exhibition in the gallery. Then, this question must be answered for a site built by the artist for this purpose, documenting in a such way the action. Ferreira used a queer aesthetic connoting intersectional visualities as ethnicity, class, and sexuality. It is in this sense that I propose rescue artistic practice as forms of stress and propose more than liminal zones for the continuity of a dichotomous life. The idea of liminality may correspond or belongs to a model of evolutionary thought. In the other way, the Western white queer can be established as evolutionary, as a post-structuralist and postmodernist model, when we have in the Americas a femicide and genocide. In this context, we can find a performance art that expresses guerrilla insurgents and libertarians' broad purpose. The device Hortus Tomboys funcking studies throw dichotomous identities like male-female, human-animal, using photographic and videographic performance connecting other elements from the queer and postcolonial. The transvestites of Peru, for example, works like sex work or shamanism. They refuse to join in the post-industrial labor. They cross all genders, never staying in one. Cross-dressing in Peru is a form of resistance, driving queer forms of gender violence pre-conquest. Thus, the Peru Travesti Museum I am using here as documentary device works that expose and celebrate a contemporary transvesti culture. The main objective is to assert a transvesti identity and problematize it. It is a way to break free himself from the gender of standardization, updating its own self-expression, talking also as a result of gender relativity. explains Giuseppe Capuzzano, director of the museum. Final thoughts. Probably this present world can contribute to human rights language, a language to travel between various genders and or not. Exposure, documentation, exposure ensures a space for discussion and experimentation. It's necessary to document the performance. It's a constituent part of the process, explained Guillermo Gómez Peña. In various fields of knowledge, the notion of performance has been referring to an act of communication, but in addition to reduce conception dichotomously, expression content. It has in part more effective modes of expression than content of message. In London, the performance is characterized by a situation where the poetic function is dominant and results in the invocation of the experience. She distinguishes the ritual story and performance story. She explains that it's about a move in the dress, in the look of the look, but the evidence remains the same. We see how the notion of performance in art is not foreseeable in the event. No expectations are negotiated. As well as gender studies, the performance is predictable. Some practice of art from the Ameriques queer question expectation as they discuss the social paradigm of humanities and social science. Rescue dichotomous identities as shaman while they question it. It's urgent to build conceptualizations to identify the scientific and the cultural political conflict. Only then the reinterpretation of the subjectivities and the field of art in a context of post-abolitionist and post-context context may contribute to the transformation of science or faith science, generating new production of knowledge. Thank you.